Hello, 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 and welcome to the July 4th, 2021 episode of the Boxing Source Radio Show. Your host in the building, JR Bell, the leader of the Boxing Source on social media. You know where to catch us at through social media. We have a whole bunch of, ways to connect through Instagram, through Facebook, through Twitter, and of course through YouTube. You know, um, we're gonna go through a few things here. We're gonna go through a few things here today. Wanted to, of course, cover what happened yesterday over in California. We had a couple fights that went down. Of course, headlined by Chris Colbert versus Tugstogt Nyambayar. So, with that being said, want to get straight to it. Of course, Chris Colbert, interim champion there at 130 pounds, going up against Tugstogt Nyambayar. Nyambayar was a replacement opponent for Yuriorkis Gamboa, as Chris Colbert was originally slated to fight Yuriorkis Gamboa on July 3rd, but Gamboa pulled out due to an injury. So you had Tugstogt Nyambayar as a replacement within 2 weeks, 2 weeks notice. Nyambayar came in there, with the lone loss to Gary Russell Jr. Last year for the WBC featherweight title. He had a very close bout against Kobe Abridi. And he was able to get a very close decision to put himself in a position to try to get another bout there at featherweight. But he ended up getting this bout against Chris Colbert at 130 pounds super featherweight division. Real quick shout out to the live chat going on here. While this thing is going down, we have this interaction going down for the live podcast. Shout out to those that are joining in through that live chat. Intangible Boxing News in the building. What's going on with you, my man? And so just getting back into it, Chris Colbert, of course, was, a topic of conversation in boxing circles over the, previous week for things that he said. We'll probably go over that a little bit later. But in the meantime, wanted to get into this thing here with, his fight against Tugstogt Nyambayar. Of course, Chris Colbert was coming in there unbeaten with a regular 15-0. He had 6 knockouts. He said that he wanted to put on the show for this particular fight, being the headliner here, and showing that he could, be among the better fighters there at 130 pounds. So he came out, very sharp against Nyambayar. Nyambayar was, I would say right in front of him for, the majority of the bout. But, from the first round, you kind of like saw what Chris Colbert was looking to do. And he was looking to be very sharp with the jab, very emphatic, throwing that jab, against his opponent there in Nyambayar. Nyambayar did catch him a couple of times there in the first round, was, coming forward, being very active, trying to get Chris Colbert on his back foot. But, outside of that, you really didn't see that much aggression coming from Tugstogt Nyambayar. And it was mainly a, thing where you got, Chris Colbert kind of like controlling the fight with a jab. Now, there were times where he switched over to southpaw. And when he switched over to southpaw, you kind of see him get caught a little bit. And also when he wasn't doubling up the jab or following up with the right hand, you kind of seen Tugstogt Nyambayar try to time him and catch him with a counter, which was pretty, pretty effective, but not too effective to really affect Chris Colbert there. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is that, he kind of like used his, of course, his height, his speed, and his range to, keep Nyambayar at bay there. So, with that being said, he went through those 12 rounds. He did predict that he was going to not go past 10 rounds with Nyambayar, but it did go to full 12. And he ended up scoring that unanimous decision victory with two scores of 118, 110, one score of 117, 111. And, it was just something there where he just kind of like, went through this bout and Nyambayar didn't necessarily have an answer. Real quick on the live chat, it's saying this thing here in reference to what Chris Colbert did in comparison to what Gary Russell did. It says here Colbert did better than Russell against Tug for a simple reason: size and foot speed. Even though Russell has better fundamentals, Colbert knew how to get out of the way of Tug's attacks. And that Gary Russell Jr. is pocket centric. He's an expert at it, but not outside of it. Just going into that there a little bit. You had somebody there in Chris Colbert that was had different dimensions there. 5'8", there with a 71-inch reach. Going up against someone that came up in weight, but was still around 5'7", in comparison with Gary Russell Jr., who's a shorter fighter. So Gary Russell's there at around 5'4". So Gary Russell is gonna do what he needs to do to get in your grill. So like you said, Gary Russell is pocket centric because he's there as a shorter fighter, and so going up against somebody like a Tugstogt Nyambayar that's taller, you're gonna try to get in the grill and outwork him. And so on the flip side with Chris Colbert, taller fighter, bigger fighter, someone that would uses speed and reach. That's exactly what he did there. So with that being said, you just had Chris Colbert doing what he mainly was supposed to do in this particular bout, was just use what his advantages were and utilize them over the course of 12 rounds. But like we were saying there, with Tug, he was there 2 weeks notice, coming in at 126, going up to 130. So it's something where he looked like he was. They said like during this telecast that Tugstogt Nyambayar was preparing for a fight, but it was going to be later in July. So they were primed to announce Tugstogt Nyambayar being put in a fight card. Maybe it would have been July 31st. That card on July 31st. That's over in New Jersey. Maybe it would have been part of that card. But instead, they had him put up, there to, he was offered this fight against Chris Colbert as a replacement. And, I guess they, gave him a good little offer and, he accepted that offer. You know what I mean? So that's the thing about that. Going on more of the commentary, here live, someone here saying like, Chris Colbert is not a fundamental expert at this point of his career. He's, very awkward, and but he shows flashes of brilliance, of his arsenal. But I mean, it just depends on like how you like how he uses his skills. You know what I mean? And that will he be more structured or free flowing? That remains to be seen. I mean, we saw, of course, what he did there against Nyambayar, and some people kind of said that Nyambayar was like a better little matchup for Chris Colbert than Yuriorkis Gamboa. Gamboa is there, 37. Of course, on his way down there in this course of his professional career. Of course, had his losses to Tank Davis and to Devin Haney. So it didn't necessarily look like it was a good bout when it was announced. Therefore, Chris Colbert. But here having Nyambayar as a replacement, he was dealing with somebody that was a former Olympian there from Mongolia. Had those amateur skills, amateur background. I was able to give Chris Colbert different looks. Had Chris Colbert, doing different things there in the ring. But for Chris Colbert after this particular bout, we got to see what's there for him. He did mention one guy that could have been a potential opponent for him in Xavier Martinez, who is there at 130 pounds, and that he said like the fight was offered to Xavier Martinez twice, and that it was declined. But given what has happened over the past couple of weeks, of course, you had Gervonta Tank Davis, who is the champion, holds a belt at 130 pounds, WBA super champion at 130, WBA regular champion at 135, and now the WBA regular champion at 140. So most likely that Tank Davis is going to vacate that super title there at 130 pounds. And, if that's the case, um, then you could have the vacant WBA super title on the line, with Chris Colbert as the interim champion against Xavier Martinez. Of course, Tank Davis won that belt from Leo Santa Cruz, and Leo Santa Cruz had that belt when it was vacant. So, I mean, maybe you could have, Colbert versus Martinez later this year for that title if it gets vacated by Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that remains to be seen there at 130 pounds, because I don't really see, much else going on for that particular belt. We know what is on slate for, the one of the other world titles there at 130 pounds, which we'll probably get into a little bit later. But with that being said, I feel like the thing with Chris Colbert, he looks like he has the tools, but more he has to get more polished, so to speak. He might need to polish some things a little bit more because he has the style, he has the flash, and there's times where he's able to finish his opponents, and there's times when he's not. So that's the thing with with him on that. Had this thing just responding to the interaction here for this podcast. Yeah, Gamboa as a matchup, it would probably be a bad thing. Let's see. He said like Gamboa could only teach fighters how to take apart a negative fighter. Gamboa likely would have been at the recipient. Oh man, excuse me, of a mercy stoppage. Maybe because I mean, if y'all seen what he was doing there against Devin Haney, it looked like he was going through a majority of those rounds, not trying to get stopped. He was holding on, hanging on, clinching, grabbing, holding, all types of stuff in order to, try to make the fight look a little bit more murkier. You know what I mean? And, that would have probably been something for Colbert to deal with over the course of 12 rounds. But if he would have been able to, work out of that, work around that, and, make, Gamboa pay, and then eventually could get the stoppage, then, that probably would have been, good form. You know what I mean? So, I would say like, for Gamboa, they're probably going to put him in against somebody like a Jezreel Corrales type guy, or, a Jaime Arboleda, over there 130 pounds. Because with Chris Colbert, I only see him fighting Xavier Martinez there at 130, and that's pretty much that. You know what I mean? So, that scene there at 130 pounds, that's kind of like where it's going outside of the WBO title, which they're trying to work out there a little bit. Intangible. There in the live chat, he says like the best opportunity he has to get in unification is to get the vacant WBA or beat an elevated Gutierrez there. But the only thing with that is 130 pounds is kind of like, therefore top rank. Of course, you got, the WBO champion there, Jamel Herring. You got the WBC champion there, and Oscar Valdez, who beat Miguel Burcho, and the IBF title is vacant, and they haven't really made a decision as to what they're going to do with that belt at this particular point. So the thing there with Colbert, if he does have that shot to get the WBA title there at 130 pounds, he would have to wait a little bit in order to see if he could get something for unification, because they're going to see about what happens with the WBO title and match him up with Oscar Valdez, who what was it, about a few weeks ago signed a pretty much a long-term deal with Top Rank there. So that's going to be something on their part there in that particular weight class. You did also have a co-feature bout there with Michelle Rivera against John Fernandez, with Michelle Rivera that was coming in there 20-0, and John Fernandez there coming in with a record of 20 wins and 1 loss. And that was pretty good little scrap there for those first few rounds or so. You kind of like seeing Michelle Rivera try to outbox John Fernandez, was catching him with a few right hands over the course of those rounds, while John Fernandez was looking to try to catch Michelle Rivera. And by the 6th round, he did catch him. Caught him with a good little right hand that had Rivera put one of his gloves down to the canvas there in round 6, and then he experienced a count. But then in the 8th round, he was able to get a good 1-2 shot there, with the left jab and then the right to the ear, and that put down John Fernandez, and it looked like he was out. And it was like a highlight reel knockout there, for Michelle Rivera, for him to stay undefeated, and he's now 21-0, 14 of those wins by way of knockout. Of course, he had his little thing there where he kind of like resembles young Muhammad Ali, when he was, Cassius Clay or whatever it was. And you see that he's trying to, market himself as like a fighter to, watch out for in that particular division there at lightweight. But we'll see if, he gets in there as a contender there at 135 pounds. Of course, it's like a lot of fighters there at 135. Of course, Tank Davis there has a belt there at 135. Of course, he had the unified champion Teofimo Lopez, but we don't really necessarily talk about Teofimo Lopez or Devin Haney or something like that, because you really aren't going to see those type of matchups there as far as like cross promotional anytime soon. So we're just looking at maybe he could get in there against a few guys, maybe like a Rolly Romero. I don't think some people say that he could face a Rolly Romero or somebody around that, with the name like that. So that's the thing about it is with somebody like a Michelle Rivera, is he going to have that type of fight be lined up for him? It just depends on how many people really kind of like gravitate towards him as a fighter overall. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing with that. So I mean, I thought that was a good little bout for Rivera. Has him seeing that there's a few things that uh, have to be improved on that. There's somebody that is a definite detractor of a person with with the nickname of Rolly. They say that he should not ever be mentioned within their presence. They really feel like Rolly is not that good. We'll see, man. I think that I think he will probably be announced to be part of a fight here within the next couple of months or so. I think that's kind of like on deck for him. So, we'll see how that looks for him there at 135 pounds. But I I think that I think that there might be something lined up for him, but I don't think they're gonna actually do it for that guy. So we'll see how that ends up. Um, we did also have they did show a little bit of the epilogue there for Tank Davis versus Mario Barrios that happened in the previous week with, of course, Davis getting that stoppage victory over Barrios for that 140-pound title there that Tank Davis currently has. Um, over the past week, with the fallout there from that particular fight, there's people talking about, they feel like Tank Davis is just getting the belt there at 140 pounds, but he is also like a guy that is pretty much a potential superstar there in the sport of boxing. And one fighter that was mentioned as a potential opponent for him in the future is the undisputed champion at 140 pounds, Josh Taylor. And thing about it is that we had something here where you had um you had Leonard Ellaby talking about Josh Taylor as a potential opponent, and he said like at this particular point, Josh Taylor is not the a marketable enough fighter for Tank Davis to fight at this point. And that kind of like seemed to be interesting comment there from Leonard Ellaby because you had, of course, there with Josh Taylor as the undisputed champ, and he just got the undisputed title, therefore, um, 140 pounds. So that's the thing about that. I'm gonna try to see if I could do something here real quick because this might be something about a impromptu joint going on here. So let me see if I could do this thing here, man. I'm gonna see if I could get some info. Hello, yo, Coach Floyd, what's up?
Not much, man. How's it going? Everything is good. Everything is good.
Yeah, man. I'm actually doing the podcast right now on the Streamyard tip, man. Yeah, I wanted to ask about what was going on with Kobe.
Oh man. We are in the middle of our negotiations with the TMT promotions right now. 2-1. We're still working on looking at getting signed with TMT promotions, but hopefully later this month we're looking at going to Vegas. Meet up with Floyd one more time. Hopefully, everything goes well. Um, he's says he want to meet Cobia. Well, their team wants him to meet Cobia and see where we can take it from there, man. Other than that, we're just excited. So, like I say, pursuing the TMT promotions. Because one thing, you always want to have a strong promotion team behind you when you're in this boxing game.
Yeah.
As you can see, like what happened last night. I know you saw the fight, right?
Yeah, I did. Yep. Yeah, talking about the thing with Colbert and all that. Yeah.
He's too big. He's too big. He's too big. And the crazy thing about it is, a lot of people always talk about, it's only 4 pounds. It's only 4 pounds different, from 26 to 30. Nah, but when you step in the ring, bro, the person already put on 20 or 15 pounds, 155, and you're only 135 or 40. When you really fight 126, you can see the size difference, man. It was massive. It was crazy.
Yeah, and
the size difference was crazy.
Yeah, and I had had you on here live here, like for those that don't know, the thing with Chris Colbert they were talking about Kobe Brady being a possible opponent for Chris Colbert,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
one, like you were saying that Coach Floyd, there that they number one, the thing for the money wasn't looking good, and two, like you were talking about, the whole thing about moving up a division, man.
And when you move up, you got to move up correctly. You don't just take a fight on a 2 weeks notice. And nah, it's your body size, man. I mean, say like right now, Kobe is walking around. My fighter, Kobe is walking around 140 pounds. Okay, training decent, 39, 38, 35.
Mm-hmm.
Fight time, we fight 26. You go in the ring, you going in the ring at 135, 36 pounds. Okay,
Yeah,
because you put on 10
rehydrating.
pounds
Yeah,
in that one day. Yeah, 10 pounds. But if you fight 130, you're going in the ring at 132, 33. Okay? But if you like, I mean, I'm saying if you're a 126-pound fighter
right.
and you just weigh in at 130, when you step in the ring, you're stepping in the ring at 100, maybe 35 pounds. The guy stepping in about 150 pounds. The size different. You don't want to do something like that. That's crazy. And you don't want to do that for the money because it messes with your record, it messes with your ranking, everything. I mean, boxing is a smart business. You got to be a smart businessman when you come to boxing because your career will be over in like that, taking the wrong fights.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I would say, like Gervonta Davis. Okay, let's go to Gervonta Davis. He moved up in weight and he fought. But Gervonta, if you notice, he's always missing his weight on the scale because he's always a big boy. And if anybody who knows Gervonta like me, he's a big dude. He can move up in weight, and he has a big punch. Okay, so Gervonta can do it. He can move up in weight. And he has a great trainer. I mean, Calvin is a great trainer, and
Mm-hmm.
like he said, hit him in the body and bring him down to his size. And what he did, hit him in the body, bring him down to the size. Yeah, man. So right now for Kobe, we're still sitting tight. Hopefully we might be looking at something maybe in September. Definitely. Hopefully in September, definite. Because
Okay.
I mean, that'll be a year since he's been out the ring. But right now we're training. We just finished training with Lamont Roach. We've been in camp with Lamont Roach. He's fighting on July 9th. So we had like about 3 weeks of hard sparring with him.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great work because Lamont Roach fights at 130 pounds. He's at the DMV area. Wish him luck.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing about it. It's like you just stay ready. You don't get ready. You stay ready. So, like I said, we just got out of training camp with him. We just finished on Friday training camp. So, right now we'll take this week to cool off a little bit and get ready to go to Vegas at the end of the month.
True.
And meet up with the money team and see what we can work out.
True that.
Yeah, so everything's looking really good, man. Everything's looking good. I mean, his ranking, Kobe's ranked for 25 in the world right now. We don't want to take a bad fight, move up a weight division,
Right.
130 pounds for no reason. Because right now the 126-pound division is still wide open. The IBO is vacant. The IBF title is vacant. So there's 2 belts that we want to go after. One of those belts, so that's what we do, man.
Well, I mean, the thing with the IBF though, they should be having that fight because that's going to be part of the Matchroom Fight Camp this summer. Over the past next few weeks, so they should have that IBF title. Like someone should be able to win that IBF title, and then after that, you will see what happens or what's going down with that.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of room for fighters to fight right now, and everything is opening up. So that's a good thing, man. Everything is opening up.
Yep. True that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just wanted to.
I mean, just keep you posted on what's going on.
Oh, no doubt. Thanks a lot there, Coach
Yeah.
Floyd. Wanted to get what's going on there with you and Kobe. So we'll see what's up with that. And like you said, if we have something lined up for him in September, of course you'll let me know.
Yeah, definitely. I would say definitely in September I can see Kobe a fight. August right now, July is we're in July, so we're still feeling things out. like I said, it only takes about a month or two, month and a half for him to get back in this fight shape because we just finished camp.
Yeah.
So finishing camp, that means you're in shape. You're in fight. You mean you're in body sparring fight shape. But
yeah, fight shape.
you
Yeah.
just got to get the mental part together.
Yeah.
You know, finding the opponent, training for an opponent, who you're fighting, stuff like that. You know.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah. So yeah. Thanks for them updates, man. And I'll keep in touch with you on that.
You don't remember.
All right.
Go too far. Yes. Hello. I'm sorry. Say that again.
Yeah, I said yeah, we'll keep in touch with you to see what else is going on, man.
Oh, definitely, man, definitely. You guys keep doing what you're doing. Podcast is awesome, man. I mean, everything is information and informing the people, informing everybody what's going on with the fighters. I know Sign Nation is getting ready to host a fight on September 25th. So I have one of my fighters, Kilpatrick, will be fighting on that card. So that's good for the DMV area.
Yep.
Bringing it back in the DMV, Sign Nation, is, guys bringing it back in this area. That's a good thing.
Yep, true that. True.
Okay.
All right, man.
You take care of yourself, man.
All right, no doubt.
Okay.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, that was Coach Floyd Seymour there, head trainer for Kobe and Soldier Breedy, of course, who campaigns there the featherweight division. He was kind of like talking about, a little situation about, him or Breedy potentially being an opponent for Chris Colbert. But how that situation is, man, it's very tough to, try to prepare for somebody in moving up a division there. And he talks about, what it takes as far as like moving up. And then in comparison, you got somebody in Chris Colbert who, for this particular fight, was training with Michelle Rivera, who's there at 135 pounds, while Kobe is training with Lamont Roach Jr., who'll be, as Coach Floyd said, part of that card on July 9th. He's campaigning at 130 pounds. Of course, Lamont Roach was a former world title contender there at 130. So, it's a whole different thing when you have to go up against somebody that's a higher division when you've been pretty much at one division your whole career. Wanted to see if I could add in a very, very big contributor here to the Boxing Source radio show, Brother Mike, checking in there from Atlanta, man. What's happening with you?
Not too much. How you doing, James?
Oh, doing all good, man. Yeah, were you able to see what Chris Colbert did against Nyambayar?
Yeah, I definitely saw. I definitely saw the action. He definitely looked good. I liked how he used his jab. I like how he sort of controlled the action, and I also saw that you had Coach Floyd on. I think that'll be a tough match for Cobia. I think it'll be a tough match. I gotta watch Kobe a little bit more, but the jab that Chris Colbert has is gonna make it tough for anybody, because if your first line, the first, second, and third line of defense is to get around that jab and he constantly throws it out, that's just a tougher night for anyone. And I'm not comparing, but if we look at the two performances, Kobe are definitely, in terms of like a Sean Porter style, kind of had the more activity, throwing, but leaving himself open and just getting hit by big shots and shots that he probably didn't necessarily see, which knocked him down. And so with those same shots, I'm not sure how hard Chris Colbert hits, because I hadn't seen too many of his fights. I saw highlights of him, but I hadn't seen. This is my first fight I saw his, so I'm not sure how hard he hits. Now, if he hits hard or hard enough to where he can hurt, let's say like a Kobe or Breedy, then it's gonna be tough. But Kobe had trouble, if I recall. Did he have trouble with Nyambayar's jab, or was it just the big right hands or something, or the big crosses that sort of like were the equalizer? I've actually forgot how the match went. I just remember him rallying and sort of winning the spirit of the fight. But just with
Yeah,
those two or three knockdowns, it's just really tough to overcome that. I forgot
yeah,
what happened though.
yeah. The two knockdowns are basically the difference of that fight. Because he was pretty much outworking Nyambayar to a certain extent. It was just that him getting caught or him being in a compromising position led to those knockdowns. But it wasn't something where he really couldn't deal with the jab of Nyambayar that much, because he was able to get himself back into the fight over that second half of the fight. So with that, it's just that he had to kind of like mix things around, and like you said, inside fighting. And some people kind of like think he's looks like a Tim Bradley as far as like his fighting style and his overall look too. So that's mainly about what we saw when Breedy faced Nyambayar. But going up against somebody like a Chris Colbert, like he would deal with somebody that's with length, and he would have to figure out a way to get to the inside. And him being able to move around, he probably would have had a little bit more success on that than Nyambayar, because Nyambayar kind of like stayed within the line of of attack for Colbert to land that jab. So that's the thing. Someone said here on the chat, it was like counter straight right and a short right hook were the punches that really caught Cobia there in his fight against Nyambayar. But with Colbert, he's undefeated. They're what is it now? 16-0. He does have 6 knockouts. The previous fight where he fought Jaime Arboleda, he knocked him down like 3 times en route to a TKO victory there last year. It was pretty much December of last year. So he has that type of ability where he could shock some people or hit them while they're off balance and knock them down. It's just that he doesn't have that type of I'd say offense that he puts together that he could just overwhelm somebody. I haven't really seen that from him just yet. He probably could do that here. As he's young there. He's like only 24 years old. So he still got some time to, develop that type of offense to really put his punches together and, make his opponents pay. Because there were times when he was like really hitting Nyambayar with that right hand, and it just really didn't phase Nyambayar at that particular point. So for Colbert, it just remains to be seen what he's going to be able to do next. So like I said, before you got on here, they're trying to make the fight between him and Xavier Martinez, which could be for the WBA super title, because Tank Davis could end up vacating that belt, there after winning it over Leo Santa Cruz last year. So you might see Colbert there against Xavier Martinez for that title there. You know what I'm saying? So I see that through this live conversation, someone has shared their thoughts about you, Brother Mike. They said that they are very disappointed to hear that you watched the Chris Colbert fight, and because of that, you have been banished from the Bomb Squad.
Because I watched the Chris Colbert. Oh, because he said something. Didn't he clear that up and say that he wants to beg forgiveness to the Bomb Squad? So I think we should give him a second chance. I think he said he didn't want no problems.
Well, I'm not sure. I haven't received an update as to what he was saying after this fight, so I don't know.
Tell said person if he had something to say. Say it over in my ears.
So you basically calling him out. So we'll see.
I want to hear his voice.
We'll see if he comes in a little bit later on here too.
He sounds like a troll.
He is. That may sound like it, but he's not necessarily a troll. You know who it is. Oh man, but yeah, yeah, that's basically what I got out of this fight from Chris Colbert is that he just utilized the amount of skills that he has there at 130 pounds, and he could be pretty tough out for anybody that challenges him at 130. It's just that if he does get like a world title there at 130 pounds, it'll be fairly difficult to go forward with a unification. Given that two of those belts that are held by two guys that are within top rank, which they're going to try to see about making a unification fight with the WBC and WBO titles. Um, I don't know if it'll be later this year. Might be sometime next year. So we'll see how that turns out there for 130. Um, real quick. I mean, you got like other things going down, coming up for next weekend. They got some things there on Friday, like was stated by Coach Floyd Seymour. You got Lamont Rose Jr. Being part of the card there on July 9th, but you also have former world champion Gilberto Ramirez there at light heavyweight fighting Sullivan Barrera. So he's going to be part of a card that also has Jojo Diaz against Javier Fortuna. Um, and that's going to be for an interim title there at lightweight. Of course, Javier Fortuna was, lined up to fight. Who was it? Devin Haney. He was lined up to fight, Ryan Garcia, and he was lined up to fight, was it Jorge Linares last year? And, all of those fights fell through. So now he's here against Jojo Diaz, who, was a former champion at super featherweight, former IBF champion at super featherweight, but he, ended up being overweight for what was supposed to be his title defense, his first title defense after beating Tevin Farmer, and he ended up having a majority draw against Shavkat Rakhimov. So now he's up another division at lightweight, going up against Javier Fortuna, and uh, this might be actually a little bit of a toss-up fight to me. Um, because with Jojo Diaz, it's kind of like a flip of the coin as to how he'll perform against an opponent. Fortuna is there, of course. 36 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. His last loss was to Robert Easter Jr. And in that particular fight that was at the Barclays, like some people thought that he got the better of Robert Easter Jr. There, and he's been there as far as like being established there at the lightweight division. So Jojo Diaz might have to watch out here for a little bit because with this thing here with Fortuna, like he's been there as far as like a contender for a lightweight title, but hadn't necessarily gotten a fight there. There was one thing where he gotten a little bit of a hang up with getting a fight made with Devin Haney. So now he's still there with that status as a top contender for the WBC title, but now he's going up against Joseph or Jojo Diaz there in the lightweight division. So that's going to be a good little scrap. That's going to be on Friday night there over in Los Angeles. And like I said, you also have former champion at 168 pounds super middleweight Gilberto Ramirez. Now still there at light heavyweight. He still hasn't had a world title bout yet at light heavyweight, even though he was a former champ at 168 pounds, going up against veteran Sullivan Barrera. So that would be a good little scrap there for him. We'll see if Gilberto Ramirez will probably end up being favored in this bout. He'll be like 42-0 and then still not be able to position himself to fight for a world title there at 175 pounds. I mean, you got Joe Smith Jr., you got, Dimitri Bivol. Of course, you got Artur Beterbiev there, 175 pounds, as world champions. And Zurdo Ramirez still hasn't been able to get himself a world title shot. So if he does get through this, then maybe he could have something where he fights like a Joe Smith Jr. or something like that. If you know, I'd say like if he doesn't like get something against better Biev or against Dimitri Bivol, I think he's more likely to face a Joe Smith Jr. Than those other two guys, especially with better Biev now kind of like being a possible opponent for Canelo Alvarez in September. So that's two of the major fights there that are coming up next week is Zurdo Ramirez against Sullivan Barrera and Jojo Diaz against Javier Fortuna. And of course, the following week you got the undisputed title there at 154 pounds, Jamel Charlo versus Brian Castano. This is something here for Jamel Charlo. If he gets this win, he'll be the undisputed champion at 154 pounds. And, people should be able to try to, put more quote unquote respect on his name in the pound for pound list. I mean, he has probably one of the better resumes in the sport. Just there at 154 pounds, and as deep as that division is, he's kind of like faced just about every one of those guys there at 154 and, beat all of them. He avenged his lone loss to Tony Harrison and, beat everybody else up to this point. So if he's able to get this win over Castano, he'll have all the belts there at 154 pounds. And, it would kind of like, put, more prestige as to what he had done or has done over the course of his professional career there at 154 pounds. So that's, mainly, what we got going on here so far. Mike, you got like any thoughts on that fight there at 154, Charlo Castano?
I don't remember how Castano fight. I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. I'm putting together a bed with my nephew, and I was like paying attention like half the time. I'm sorry.
So you got Mike here, doing some home improvements here during this podcast. So that that's the random stuff that we got going on here in the Boxing Source Radio Show. You'll have people chiming in while doing some housework and all of that. That's how we do out here. You know what I'm saying? So
my nephew visited me. I'm putting him to work.
Yeah, but the thing with Castano is, he's had his fight against Erislandy Lara. That was like a split draw. Some people felt like he won that particular fight. He had, a very good performance against Wale Omatoso over in the Washington, D.C. area and getting a stoppage victory there, and then followed it up with, the fight for that WBO title against Teixeira, where, he basically outworked Teixeira from round 1 to round 12. One of those scorecards, he won every single round on one scorecard. So he's going to have like come forward style, fairly relentless and that type of thing. Something for, Charlo to, kind of deal with. It's not like he's going to, like Jamel Charlo is going to deal with a style like a Tony Harrison, or it might, end up being more like a thing where, he faced his last opponent there in Jason Rosario. Jason Rosario is somebody that like kind of had a little bit of a come forward style, but also had like the little height and reach though. Castano is not necessarily like that. He's more of a, like I said, someone who relies on activity, offense, and that type of thing, especially with him being a shorter fighter there at 5'7", going up against someone that's, about 4 inches taller than him. So that will be something for Charlo to deal with, is that if Castano gets on the inside, gets into his body and works his body a little bit, how he's going to be able to keep him at bay, because Castano may end up trying to smother the work of Jamel Charlo here in this particular bout and see if he could, get some more work in on the inside. So that's the thing about that. Want to get, another guest in here to talk about what's going on with the boxing action. This is the person apparently who um, wants to banish brother Mike from the bomb squad. It is without question the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club, Mr. Matthew Brown of MVO, checking in from the Boogie Down. What's up?
Mike Grady, how dare you watch a fight with that red-haired little prick after he disrespected the name of the great Deontay Wilder? Something like that, Mike, you gotta go. You just gotta go, man.
Matt, can I remind you something?
I'm listening.
Before I'm excommunicado, can I remind you something?
I'm listening.
Lions aren't concerned with the opinion of sheep. Why do we care about what he says?
We don't. But
okay, so I'm good then.
We ain't gonna give him no ratings.
So you didn't watch the fight?
Absolutely not.
You didn't stream the fight legally?
I watched Tank. I watched the Dominican Muhammad Ali kid.
Didn't he look like Muhammad Ali? Didn't he?
He did. He really did.
I was like, who is this guy?
But I could not bring myself to watch Chris Colbert. And I will never watch another Chris Colbert fight again. The next time I'm going to watch Chris Colbert is when there's a highlight of him getting knocked out.
Oh, no.
Now, I got to take you to task too a little bit, JR. Why on earth would Jordan Ramirez fight Joe Smith?
I wouldn't say that he would. I mean, that said it would be most likely, but the only way that it's likely is if it goes through Joe Smith's manager, because we know it sure won't go through the promoter.
Yeah, not only that, Jordan Ramirez will never, ever, ever fight for the WBO ever again. Okay.
Oh, so is he gonna pull a Austin Trout on him?
He should. He'd have a great case. Because how the hell is Shakur Stevenson a mandatory? How did Billy Joe Saunders get to fight for the vacant belt? Everybody gets their WBO shot when they move divisions, except for Jordan Ramirez. And nobody in boxing seems to care.
Terrence Crawford got his immediate shot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it is what it is. I think Zerto is going to end up fighting Bivol. That's my best guess.
Yeah. Unless if they try to undercut Zerto and say that they're going to have a unification.
Oh, with Beterbiev?
Yeah.
I mean, he couldn't be mad at that, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know I wouldn't be mad at it.
Now, what's going on with Joe Smith and Beterbiev? Why are they not going to fight next all of a sudden?
Well, shoot, I don't know about all that. I mean, maybe they're trying to. I know, I still don't see Beterbiev fighting Canelo in September. I just don't see it.
Oh, that's not happening.
Yeah, that's not happening. So I don't know why that is in the air or something like that, or within the realm of possibility. Like that, yeah, that just doesn't seem all too hot. So I think that they're just using that as a distraction, and that Beterbiev and Bivol should end up fighting each other there for unification, and just have Joe Smith Jr. have a voluntary defense of the WBO belt, probably close to his hometown or something.
Against Jacobs?
Yep, that's been a possibility. Unless if they have him unless they have Joe Smith in a mandatory defense of some sort against that Zach Parker guy or whatever, or Lyndon Arthur. No, it's Lyndon Arthur that's the top contender.
I would hate that. Eddie
Hey,
Hearn said he was going to make a big offer. Where's this big offer, Eddie Hearn?
yeah, I don't know.
Always talk this shit, never get nothing done.
Zerto. Zerto earlier this week was talking about, that maybe he was more likely to face Better Be a War Bivol, maybe in the near future, but who knows?
I'm surprised Mike Grady watched the fight last night. Also, by the way, I meant to say that.
So you have a problem that I watched the fight, but you're surprised in that you actually supported me watching it, but you have a problem with me watching it.
Because you don't ever watch these guys, but you went out of your way to watch Colbert. I wonder if you're really a turncoat.
Was there any other boxing on last night, or did the replay happen to make me continue watching? The dang finals was over with by the time the fight started anyway. Why am I explaining myself to
I
you?
ain't trying to watch it.
Why am I explaining myself to him, JR?
I don't know, because I mean you can
either explain yourself to me or you can explain yourself to Deontay. Either way, we want to know what happened.
Yeah, but what will he be able to have that chance to explain himself to Deontay though?
Yeah, I'll set something up.
Oh man, shout out to Boxing Logics United on the live chat. Peace and pugilism, man. He said that Chris Colbert put on a good performance, even though, like I said, Matt really didn't care. He said he doesn't care about anybody below 137 or 147 pounds, with the exception of Tank Davis. So
and Gary Russell, come on,
and Mr. Gary Russell Jr., of course, which something tells me that he might end up fighting in the in that card in August. Given who else is on that card?
Minnesota Armory?
Huh?
At the Minnesota Armory?
No. I don't know if they would do that. I don't know if they do that.
So which August card are you talking about?
It might be they might have something on Fox leading up to the pay-per-view.
Oh, you talking about 21st?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was talking about the 7th.
Yeah, because I mean, we were talking about Gary Antoine, potentially being, added into that, that fight card. So, maybe they'll, go ahead and add him in, as a main event. You know what I'm saying? To like the Fox telecast, either that or put him in as a co-feature bout.
Oh, that depends on if Ugas is going to continue to be a diva and an asshole. Ugas was negotiating with Jaron Ennis.
And
he seems to be very difficult to make a fight with. And Ennis' father this week came out and spoke about it. That he don't know what's going on with this Ugas fight now.
Because I mean, but would Ugas really wanna go ahead and be part of the fight or a fight card where he could have been a main event in?
Does he want to get paid?
Yeah, that's the thing too.
like I don't get it.
Especially if it's a part of a pay-per-view, Like, come on. If he wants to be part of that pay-per-view, he's gonna have to. Hey, it's like, and I don't get it, but like we were saying there with Boots and his Father Bosie and this, they kind of see what the deal is, what's going on. So they're probably gonna just go ahead and see what else is available for them, and then have Ugas end up fighting somebody else.
Yeah, but if Ugas fights someone else, he ain't gonna be the co-feature no more, and that means less money. They might even move him off the card completely.
Which is probably more likely. He's probably more likely to be removed off the card completely because he doesn't want to take that fight with Boots Enos. So with that being said, they would need something to fill that slot. And having Gary Russell versus Vargas.
That would be a good co-feature.
Yeah.
Very good co-feature.
Yeah. I know that, they were trying to plan a whole thing about putting all welterweights on that card. But hey, if Ugas doesn't want to be, part of it, to have a co-feature bout there against, Boots Ennis, and
ship him back. Take the belt from him and ship him back.
I'm surprised. Like I said, I'm surprised that the WBA hasn't go ahead and reinstated Manny Pacquiao yet.
Well, according to Mike Coppinger of ESPN, wow. According to him, they're set to vote on it.
Well, they better be voting in the next couple of weeks because he only got like about 8 weeks left or so.
Yeah.
Before this fight happens. So I'm like, geez, man, like, come on. Like they're gonna have to do something about it. You know what I mean?
Well, I hope he loses, to be honest with you. He doesn't deserve the belt no more. He had a chance to have the 3-belt unification with Spence, and he overplayed his hand. Now he doesn't want to make a fight with the next guy. He doesn't want to give Jamal James the rematch. Like, what do you want to do with the belt, you guys? Like, let us know, please.
I guess he wants to. Well, I don't see how he wouldn't want to parlay it to get to get that bout with Spence or something. Unless if he says that and I don't think this would happen unless if he has a bargaining chip to try to get a rematch with Sean Porter. But outside of that, nah, I don't.
Man, if I'm Ugas, I'm growing a pair of balls, and I'm trying to make a fight with Terrence Crawford.
You think he would do it for $1.5 million though?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
You should go ahead and do that. Maybe we should call up folks in Top Rank and
let's call up Bruce Trampler.
Yeah, Bruce Trampler. Yeah, let's do that.
Because to me, that's the fight to make. And that might entice the WBA to vote in his favor.
Yeah. Because, the thing about it is like they just elevated him because Manny didn't make a fight where it was going to be either against Ugas or in a unification. But now that he's active, he's going to be active, and he's going up against a world champion. They should have been able to reinstate him.
Yeah, I still don't understand how they stripped him when they never even ordered a mandatory. That was very weird. That's why, the theory was, Al Heyman called the WBA to get Ugas elevated so he could fight Spence. But then Ugas went and dropped the ball.
Yeah. Good.
So it is what it is, man. I don't care about the belt. I'm still going to watch the fight. I don't care. Errol Spence, to me, is still the man at 147, with or without 3 belts. He's still the man at 147. So, it's politics, but I don't think it's going to make a difference in whether or not somebody purchases the pay-per-view.
Right. It wasn't going to be a determining factor anyway. The names itself carried it. So that's the thing about that, Now I wanted to get in two things here too, man. One, we gotta get to this whole thing with the back and forth between WBO super featherweight champion and multiple time guest of the Boxing Source Radio Show, Mr. Jamel Herring, and one guy that Matt hates the most.
Oh my God,
Shakur Stevenson. So hold on a second. You mean to tell me that Shakur Stevenson is gonna try to get into a Twitter war with Jamel Herring,
So stupid.
and then try to do it around this time of the year? Give it his background, man. I was like, man, come on, man. Like,
But you know what? I like Shakur now because he said something good about Deontay Wilder. So shout out to Shakur Stevenson. Let's get it done. Let's get it done, young boy.
oh man. Oh jeez. Like it well, first of all, they're gonna have to get their fight signed and
Yeah.
on the dotted line. So we gotta get through. He gotta get through that first.
Yeah, but
Okay.
how stupid is he that he thought that by posting, oh, you used to come to the gym and watch me spar and then tell me I was really good at sparring. Like, did he think that that was a diss towards Jamel Herring? That Jamel Herring actually complimented him? Like, I don't. Maybe it's a young person thing. I don't know.
Maybe it is.
Because
Maybe
I
it
don't see
is.
what was the burn. Like, I don't get it.
I don't understand it either. I ain't get like where that kind of like came from or
And
whatnot.
where was he going with it?
It just didn't look like it was gonna go much of anywhere. With that being said, and my thing was, I thought that Shakur Stevenson was going after Oscar Valdez. What?
Exactly.
You
Remember?
yeah, what happened to all of that?
Yeah.
So apparently now he wants to, go forward and try to go all in with Jamel Herring, and he's saying, "Oh, no, quote unquote, it's not personal; it's just business or whatever it is." But we'll see how that all goes. But I just thought it was funny how he kind of like tries to go after Jamel Herring like that, because Herring really doesn't do that type of back and forth unless if you as like Shakur Stevenson did, pretty much like call out Jamel Herring.
But the funniest part about it was at the end, Shakur Stevenson said, I can't wait to beat your ass. Shakur Stevenson ain't never beat nobody ass except for the woman in the gas station. So whose ass is he gonna beat? I don't think sweet science in somebody for 12 rounds is beating someone's ass. So he could miss me with that I'm gonna beat your ass thing. No, say I'm gonna get the victory. I'm gonna win all these rounds.
I'm gonna outbox you.
Yeah, you ain't beating nobody's ass
Maybe
though.
you do that. I don't know, man. It's hey.
I don't think Jamel Herring had a sleepless night last night thinking about Shakur Stevenson. I'm like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, if y'all follow his social media, he's out there. He's out there putting crossovers on his nephew and stuff. So he's not losing any sleep at all there over Shakur Stevenson, man. And the other thing was, of course, we got this thing reinstated. John Real Casimiro and Guillermo Rigondeaux. Yes, that will be August 14th. That they like, come on, man. We gotta get off this thing with defending Nonito Donaire.
I told you can't trust swingers. I said that last week. You can't take the heat. Stay in the kitchen. And you know what's funny? I said it last week that this whole apology shit is a woman thing. I said it. And sure enough, when Nonito Donaire wrote his little whatever statement, oh, he disrespected my wife. They should apologize to my wife. I knew it was a woman thing. Grow some balls, man.
Like, I would have thought that he would have just said, you know what? Let's take it out in the ring.
Exactly.
Let's settle it in the ring.
Like Oscar De La Hoya and Ricardo Mayorga.
Yep. Let's go ahead and settle it in the ring. Let's not, go back and forth in a in a back in a Twitter battle or this and that and whatever. Let's just settle it in the ring. We'll sign the
Exactly.
contract. We'll go forward. Testing or no testing. Let's settle it in the ring.
Did Rocky Balboa ask for an apology after Mr. T told his wife, "Come be with a real man"? Huh?
Hey
No.
woman. Hey woman.
He took it out in the ring.
Why don't you come over to my hotel room tonight and I'll show you a real man.
Well, the Donairs would have been like, okay.
Oh no. Oh God.
Hey, I walked away. Did he say something about me?
No, not this time, Mike.
Not this time. Okay. All right. Carry on, guys. Sorry.
Oh man.
I really can't believe the Donairs. And it just goes to show you how if people like you, they'll spin whatever narrative it is that makes you look good. Because there are actually people sided with the Donairs on this. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, good number of people are siding with the Donairs on this,
Yeah.
and I'm shocked and surprised. I'm
They
surprised.
even made it seem like Casemiro was ducking drug testing, but Jake Donovan of the boxing scene, who is, for my money, the best reporter in the game, besides you, of course, he wrote an article with the timeline of what happened with Donaire and Casemiro. So Donaire and Casemiro was basically quote unquote official June 19th. And then it was only 6 days later when Casemiro sent in his paperwork. So it's not like this has been like a weeks long or a months long issue. It was 6 fucking days. How could you side with the Donairs over 6 days? So apparently, Donaire only turned in his paperwork like a day and a half before Casemiro. So it's like, come on. And then to top it off, he was talking about, oh, well, he's not getting tested. VADA came out and said, well, we're suspending testing because we haven't received word if the fight is happening. Because you guys said you were canceling it. So
yeah, so what's the point of having testing being done if y'all ain't gonna have the fight?
Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't get it. You know, I don't think Donaire was expecting for Richard Shaver and Tom Brown and Al Heyman to make the fight for him. I think he was feeling himself. He was like, oh, let me get this belt. But then when they actually made the fight, he was like, damn, y'all actually moved heaven and earth for me. So he got more than what he bargained for, and he needed a way out.
Well, looks like someone was saying like, hey, he said maybe Daenerys isn't scared. He's just too emotional. And well, I mean, hey, if he got his wife being involved in a lot of this stuff,
it's the wife, man.
There you go.
It's the wife. That woman judge. It's the wife.
I mean, it's like, oh goodness, it's almost like Jim Mosley all over again, man.
Yes.
That'd be a sad situation right there, man.
And I know that Schaefer, Brown, and Heyman has to be pissed off.
Yeah, I feel like, all of them are, especially like Schaefer and Brown, because, they probably, work together. This is like, it would have been a second time it would have worked together, make a fight there for Donaire after the thing with the Wally. And, it would have been a real, scrap that, good number of people would be interested in. So, man, but they just went ahead and just like shot that all down. And so now you're going to have, of course, Rigo El Chacal is going to be in there against Casemiro. And
that's going to be a great scrap.
Yeah.
So people making it seem like, oh, we missed out on something great with Donaire. No, I think that angle was more we want to see Undisputed with Inoue eventually. That's what that was. Donaire versus Casemiro is not a better fight to me than Rigo versus Casemiro. Because I thought Donaire was going to get his ass smoked.
Yeah. He probably would have, been open to a big shot from Casemiro, but you know what I'm saying? But Casamaro's still gonna, get his date. He's still gonna get paid, so they already had the date reserved anyway. So that was, the thing on that, man. So that, I mean, now what's going to be next for Donaire? He's probably going to try to beg for the Inoue fight.
Yeah, but what's his contract situation?
Who's Inoue's?
No, Donaire.
Oh man, I don't know, man.
Because could that fight be blocked by PBC? Now, PBC doesn't have a history of blocking fighters. You know, they don't have that history. But could they be so upset with this guy that they're like, no, fuck it, you're in a contract with us. You're not fighting nobody.
Yeah, you're not fighting nobody. We're going to put you on ice.
Yeah.
I don't know. If
now,
anything,
they're not known for that. Let's just put that out there. Al Heyman's not known for that.
Yeah, not known for that. Yeah, and if anything,
I've never seen nothing like this before.
Yeah, but if anything, probably Schaefer would say something about it. Random question that's out there. Now, if you had this fight between Rigondeaux and Casemiro and Rigondeaux gets the win there, does that put him in the Hall of Fame if he wasn't, a Hall of Fame worthy guy?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, if Lomachenko was in the Hall of Fame after 3 fights, why the fuck not Rigo? Rigo's just as decorated as an amateur.
Yep.
And Rigo's win over Donaire is better than any win Lomachenko has had in his career. Yep. And that includes the Gary Russell fight. Because we know what the deal was with Gary Russell that night.
Yep.
So why the fuck not?
Yep, exactly there. So it's like, someone said, like, I mean, Rigo's amateur record alone should put him in the in the Hall of Fame there. Yeah. So you do have that. So I mean, that's like, mainly what what we have going on there. So we really, like I said, you only have the action that's coming up July 9th over at the Bacon, California Stadium there with that Jojo Diaz fight and the Zurdo Ramirez fight. And then the following week, of course, Undisputed at 154 pounds. And then the following week is Judgment Day once again.
The big payback.
We'll see how that goes along, but we'll be talking more about that fight in that fight card, as things get closer. You know what I'm saying? So that's mainly what we got or what I have, man. I don't know if you had anything else to kind of like drop in from the rumor report side or anything like that.
But not really. Just that tickets for Wilder versus Fury 3 almost sold out. Supposedly Tank versus Barrios cleared 200,000 pay-per-view buys. I know Steven Espinosa says that it did more than Santa Cruz. I've seen numbers anywhere from 210,000 pay-per-view buys to 275,000. I don't know if you saw anything about that.
No, I didn't see anything about that, but I did see a lot of things about, boxing Twitter try to, downplay the overall interest of the particular fight in the fight card. But you know how boxing Twitter is sometimes with that.
Yeah.
So that is what that is. But yeah, outside of that, we pretty much got everything covered that we needed to cover here for this particular podcast. Thanks for everyone for joining in live in this particular conversation. We'll get some more in here for the next podcast that's scheduled for July 11th with any more news and notes here within the boxing scene. But in the meantime, y'all can catch this particular podcast here that's going to be on iTunes and Google Podcasts and all of the other applications that you use to listen to podcasts. We're on that. You know what I'm saying? But until next time, folks, y'all know what it is. The point of boxing is to hit and not get hit, not to stand and trade. On that note, folks, I'm out unless Matt reinstates Mike Grady as the vice president of the Deontay Wilder fan club, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Resend that notice, Matt.
Oh man,
we made the decision.
Oh jeez.
Either you resend it or snitch it on you on Facebook to tell them that you're back.
Oh boy.
It's the easy way to the hard way. The choice is yours.
Nah, you got it, man.
Okay.
Bomb
all right,
squad out.
We're friends again. Bum squad.
We out.